Not only is President Biden marking his 80th birthday this weekend, he is also celebrating his granddaughter Naomi's wedding.
The president's oldest granddaughter will marry Peter Neal on the White House South Lawn tomorrow.
Let's bring historian at the White House Historical Association, Sarah Fling. Sarah, thanks for joining us. You know, I always really enjoy watching what happens. We haven't had a wedding like this in, it seems like a very long time. Talk us through what you know about this celebration and what we can expect for that first big fashion moment from Naomi.
That's a great question, and thanks so much for having me this afternoon. So one of the exciting things about White House weddings is that we don't really know what to expect. These are pretty private events, and a lot of the choices really are up to the bride and groom. So every single White House wedding is unique, but we do know for a fact that there are a few firsts this Saturday. It will be the first time that a granddaughter of a president and first lady has been married at the White House, and it'll be the very first wedding to take place on the South Lawn. So really looking forward to seeing what the event will look like.
Wow. Won't it be a little cold out there?
I think there will probably be some form of a heated tent. I hope so. We certainly had some cold this week in D.C.
Oh, yes.
So how will this wedding compare to past White House weddings then?
Well, you know, we're looking at over 200 years of White House history, which is really exciting. This will actually be the 19th time that a president or first lady has hosted the wedding of a granddaughter, child, a brother, you name it, at the White House. So throughout those 200 years since the very first White House wedding in 1812, we've seen quite a mixture of close family and friends, even staff sometimes getting to have this special privilege.
So my question is, why wouldn't a daughter, a son, you know, why wouldn't they want to get married at the White House? I mean, what are some of the, I guess, the
drawbacks,
of such an event at such a venue?
Absolutely. Well, you know, at the end of the day, these end up being pretty public events that gain a lot of media attention.
I was going to ask if reporters were allowed. Okay, that was going to be my question, Sarah.
Yeah. I mean, looking to Tricia Nixon's wedding in 1971, for example, 700 reporters were given credentials. Wow. So I think privacy is a big part of that decision of whether or not you want to have a wedding at the White House.
Is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but why wouldn't they be able to have a private wedding there?
Well, it is the people's house,
I guess,
right,
so.
Sarah?
It definitely is the people's house. And I think that's why Americans are so interested.
Yes.
But there have certainly been private weddings in the past. Actually, the last wedding that happened at the White House was in 2013. And that was the wedding of President Obama's official photographer, Pete Souza.
That's
so
true.
that was very private. And there are very few details released. So it's certainly possible to have a more private affair.
It's a fine line, though, right, Sarah? Because as Michelle alluded to, so Naomi Biden, for people who don't know, has quite the following. She's what is known as an influencer, yes? Fair to say, Sarah? Can you just talk a little bit about that? Because when you are in the public eye in the way that she has chosen to be, right, some folks are going to feel like they deserve perhaps a bit more access than, than might actually be allowed by the family.
You know, I think generally looking at White House weddings, because it's the people's house, we do feel a sense of connection to any sort of event that happens here. So it's no surprise that with this upcoming wedding, people are clamoring for information, as they do with every set of nuptials that happen at the White House. So we'll have to stay tuned to see how much media there is tomorrow surrounding the events and also what gets posted after the event itself.
Oh, yes. Everyone loves a good wedding.
Yes. It's so wonderful to have joyous news to talk about, right?
Thank you. That was a great point, Elaine.
Yes. Sarah Fling, Sarah, thanks so much for sharing your insight with us.
Thank you for having me.